Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Clangin and Bangin with Mikey, episode 260, and happy holidays. I found my Christmas cup a couple of days late, but found it. Anyway, so Thursday was Christmas, and I ain't gonna lie, the older and older I get, Christmas feels less like Christmas. It's beginning to feel like just another day. Maybe because I didn't put my tree up, maybe because I didn't, I didn't buy any gifts, so I didn't do X, Y, and Z. Well, maybe simply because I don't have any kids, right? So it could be that. But the one thing I did notice, man, is that majority of people come to me talking about their situations, their relationships, whatever it is. They're women, right? And I'll be telling them, it's like, okay, you can do X, Y, and Z, but you also can't sit there and lie to yourself. It's like I, I had somebody told me, I think I spoke on this on Thursday when I did the episode on Thursday, and I said they asked me like, oh well, like, um, do you think my significant other will propose to me on Christmas or Christmas Eve? And like, I told her I honestly don't know because I'm not in your situation, but from what you're telling me, no. She's like, what? And I was like, no. Because nobody who says all the stuff that he's been saying is a person that wants to marry you. And it's true. Because like he be saying shit like, oh, well, you don't have, reason why reason why you're not married, but or reason why you don't have a wedding ring on your fingers because of your attitude, X, Y, and Z, and then like he'll say other shit too, and it's like he's just highlighting the shit that he does, like I told her point blank, like, your boyfriend's an idiot. Yeah. It's like one of these days, like you're gonna find somebody else who wants to build with you, do X, Y, and Z with you, you know. And her mistake was that she ended up having a kid by this guy, and now it's like, okay, like, do you stay because of the kid? But at the same time, like, why would you stay? Because you're not getting your needs met, you know. It's like somebody calling you to have a conversation, and you don't want to have that conversation, and it's like, and then after a while they get it because it's like, yeah, it's like why would I want to sit here and talk to you when I already have nothing to talk about, when everything I've said has already been said, it's like I don't have to keep repeating myself several times. It just doesn't make any sense. And I think that's I think that's the hardest thing that people come to terms with. It's like, and I told her, like, I didn't think about it then, but I was thinking about it, and I'm like, yo, maybe he's over the relationship. Maybe he's over the fact that, yeah, the sex is good, this and this and that, but everything else doesn't line up. And you know what? It's okay. Um, you don't you don't have to stay in a situation just because you feel obligated to stay. Or you don't have to stay in a situation just because you think it's gonna work out. I was like, and it's funny too because this individual told me like, hey, well, like, I'm gonna stay and put in more work. I'm like, but for what though? You know, there's like somebody telling you, oh, I'm not looking for a relationship. Let's just remain friends. But here's a caveat: you already slept together multiple times. You've gone out multiple times. It's like after a certain point in time, you can't come back from that. You can't swing back from to just being friends. It just doesn't work. And I think that's where a lot of people get screwed up at, like thinking, oh well, just because my feelings are this, my feelings. Like, no, like once you pass certain boundaries, bro, it's like you cannot go back. Um, Ironically, is like I'm friends with none of my exes, and like I'm cordial with them. If I see them out, I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. But it's not like I'm go out my way to make plans with them and do X, Y, and Z. Because because that's just a boundary for me. And I know I talk about boundaries a lot, but they're important. And it's like I keep telling these individuals like, stop putting in so much work when the other person isn't doing that, you know. Or like if the other person is shitty at communication skills and you've been with them for X amount of years, and it's like maybe it's not them, maybe it's you. You know, sometimes a message just gets felt, falls on deaf ears, and there's nothing you can do about it. And it's like, it's not your job to handle also some of these traumas and triggers and all the shit that they go through. Like you can be a good person and try to help them get through whatever they're going through, but it's never your job to heal somebody from something that you didn't do. And it was interesting too, because I see a lot of people saying like, "Oh yeah, like X, Y, and Z, yada yada yada." I'm like, yeah, but it's like, and I tell people all the time, it's like once you have sex with somebody, it's like you muddy the waters. It's like if you didn't want nothing but a friendship, you should have just left that alone. You know, because I've been in situations I'm like, yo, it's like okay, you're calling me, you're texting me at all hours of the day. We're having hour-long conversations. We're sleeping together. We're having, like we're having sex. We're doing X, Y, and Z. Is like, at what point in time did you still think we were friends? You know, like you're buying me birthday and Christmas gifts, which you all, spending every hour on the hour that you have free, or even if you don't have any free time, you're making free time. So it's like, at what point in time do you still consider us friends? Obviously there's something more there. So it's like at the end of the day, it's like you really can't sit there and say, "Oh well, I just want a friendship." No, it doesn't work that way. Um, you don't get to you don't get to be, "Oh my god, this and this and that." Like no, it's cool, it's whatever, but stop thinking that other people have to give you the same courtesy that you want given to yourself. I'm gonna say that again. Stop thinking that people got to give you the same courtesy that you think, that you give yourself. It's like, you know, because I told people, like I said before, once you involve sex in the situation, it changes the dynamic of the relationship. It goes from being a strictly a friendship, because obviously you're attracted to somebody somewhat, right? And I was just talking about this with somebody last night on social media, and the guy was saying, "Oh yeah, you proved my point, this and this and that." I'm like, "Nah, dog. It's like you can still be attracted to somebody, but when you get to know them, like you realize that there's a bunch of shit that they have going on, or there's a bunch of red flags that you don't want to deal with. So, you know, you decide to leave it where it's at. You know, it's like somebody can be attractive as fuck, but I tell you one thing: if they're attractive and they're single, most likely it's not because guys didn't want to date them. It's because they got qualities in them that suck. You know, and the guy was saying like, "Oh yeah, well, well, you contradicted yourself, this and this." I'm like, how, dog? It's like you can be attracted to somebody and still not want to date them. You know, there's attractive people all over this world, bro. It's like, do I want to date them? No. Would I want to sleep with them? Most likely, yes. Yeah, 100%. That's the difference. It's like you can find somebody attractive, but not want a relationship with them. It's like if I see a porn star somewhere, or a fashion model, or just an attractive girl overall, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be like, I wonder what it's like to sleep with her. I don't want to be in a relationship with her. I just want to sleep with her, and that's the difference, And I think a lot of people get that screwed up. Like they think, oh well, it's just a one-time thing, whatever it is, and boom, 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 boom. It's like no, but like once you once you cross that threshold, it's a wrap. I don't care who you are. It's not something that people just you know automatically like, oh yeah, boom, this. In reality, it's not. And that's the part that's just so interesting to me, is that a lot of people won't have that honest conversation with themselves, and I'm like, but you have to have the honest conversation, because if you don't do that, you end up shortchanging yourself. And it's like, I much rather have somebody tell me that they're not interested, you know, in the very beginning, so I can keep moving. Um, versus somebody like stringing me along and knowing that they stringing me along, and it's like, and that's that's when the resentment comes in. That's when the resentment, the bitterness, and everything else comes in, because you're like, yo, like, you knew I liked you, or I know that you like me. You know what I mean? So what the fuck? You know what I mean? So, because it goes both ways, bro. It's always crazy to me, like, when women try to play dudes and it just doesn't work out, you know. And because most women can't play the game that we play, because I was talking to a homegirl about this, and I was like, yo, it's like the problem with most women, and she agrees, is that a lot of women will act off emotions, and they'll act off emotions, and the logic will kick in, and they're like, oh shit, I really fucked this up. And very few women will apologize for, behaving how they behave, right? And if they apologize, they're a fucking unicorn. You better keep them around. Or what women will do, like, they'll take accountability, but at the very end of the situation, I'm like, okay, after you've already fucked up the situation, like, you made it extremely worse than it had to be. Now you want to take accountability for this shit? Like, where was this shit like 6-7 months ago? You know, like the worst thing to me is, like, I used to have female friends that used to date all these bad dudes. You know, like, when I say bad dudes, I just like dudes who ain't got no direction. They ain't got no fucking. They have nothing going on. They're working dead end jobs, and it's like there are no career aspirations, and it's like they're just good for, like they're just a good time, and it's like, and it's like, to me, it's like, okay, cool, but you can't complain about this dude, right? And quick backstory, right? So, so the person I was alluding to earlier, she was engaged to my high school classmate. Like, y'all have heard me talk about this story, but I'm talking about something different, right? And so, they ended up breaking up because he literally comes in the crib one day and literally says, "Hey, this is after, like, he proposed, and they picking out venues, and they doing X, Y, and Z, and it's like, and he walks in the house one day, because they live together, apartment or something, She lived in his apartment, whatever it was. Anyway, and so he goes, "Hey, I think we gotta call off the wedding." And she was like, "Why?" So she's telling him, and the very next thing she says, "Oh, well, let me see your phone." She gives him the phone, and apparently he's been sexting, one of his coworkers, having an affair with her, and a whole nine. And I go, okay, that's what's up, because you can't get mad at him because he told you. It's not like you found out on the sly. It's not like you found out accidentally. It didn't, like, this nigga told you. But I said, it does make me wonder, like, how bad was y'all's relationship, where that he walked into his own house and was like, yo, I don't want to do this anymore. Consequently, I'm not saying that people should cheat. I'm not saying that cheating is the answer, because it's not. What I am saying is that people cheat, or people go off and find other people because they don't feel heard, they don't feel respected, they don't feel seen, whatever it is, right? And it's whatever. And I'm not saying that cheating is right, because it's not. I'd much rather leave a situation than do that. But I get it, though, because as I got to know her better, and I was like, yo, it's like, after spending some quality time with her, I'm like, yo, it's like I can see why he did what he did. It's like, and she was like, what? I was like, you don't handle conflict. You don't take responsibility for anything that you do. You sit there and you complain about shit. And then the dude she ended up dating, cause she knew that I liked her, and I told her like, look, and I was like, I can't go back and forward with you, you know. It was like, you know, and mind you, thankfully we didn't, nothing happened sexually, so that was a whole, you know, can of worms that we avoided, you know, because that would have been a lot differently if we would have had sex. And so the guy she ends up dating, he's basically an alcoholic. He's a creep and he's all kinds of shit, right? And I remember, like she was telling me when, like, cause like we all met him. We was all at the party once, and we all met him, and like it got so bad that the dude got kicked out the party. Like he got told to leave because he's making the girls at the party extremely uncomfortable. Everybody at the party was uncomfortable, right? And so I think he ended up adding my girl, you know, my homegirl at the time on Instagram, and she was telling me like, yeah, well, I blocked him, this and this and that, yada yada yada, and it was one of her dumbass friends, and I say one of her dumbass friends because she is stupid. And so with all that happening, so she ends up giving him a chance, and she's like starts hanging out with him, this and this and that, yada yada yada, goes against her own judgment and starts, you know, dating this guy. And I'm like, okay, bet. That's weird, but whatever, do your thing. And mind you, this happened like right around my birthday, right? So I'm like, I'm not even tripping on that. I'm like, yo, it's like, okay, and this is what I, you know, like, it, the older version of me now is like looking at this like, damn, I wish I would have known this back then. And it's like, because I was still operating, you know, I wasn't operating, you know, in the capacity that I am now, you know, in my late 20s, early 30s, right? And what I didn't realize was like, yo, the conversations are getting shorter with you. They're getting longer with somebody else. You know, that's what they do. You know, once they get another resource, nigga, they're gone. And so when all that popped off, so she ends up dating dude, and mind you, we would follow each other on social media, and it's like, so she started posting these stories and these posts and all that shit, and it's like I didn't want to see it, so I blocked her. And like she didn't know she didn't know that she was blocked for like a good month and a half, 2 months. So she sees me at a local bodybuilding show because I was still competing at the time, and 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 then that's when she found out. Like she went to go tag me for something, and I guess one of her homegirls followed me too, and and so she asked a friend like, hey, can you go look up Mikey's profile, this and this and that, because for whatever reason I can't find him. And her homegirl's like, okay, yeah, cool. So look me up, cool. She's like, and then that's when she realized that she was blocked, and it was interesting too because like she acted like she didn't know me. She acted like she didn't see me, and I was like, I wasn't, I wasn't really tripping on anything like that. But I was just more along the lines like, okay, it's cool, it's whatever, because it is, right? You know, like you made your choice, and like there ain't no space for me, so niggas gonna leave, and you have to do that, bro. You know, you have to realize when your time's up, and like, and you have to move forward. And I remember like something happened, and then she called me for something. No, my bad. It was weird because I was blocked on social, but I wasn't blocked in her phone. And so that's how I knew, like, okay, whatever. And so I think I sent her a voice message or a voice text or something. And like she basically tried to go off of me, this and this and that. And like she's like, well, like I want you to meet my boyfriend. I'm like, nah, I already met the motherfucker. I think he a piece of shit. I think you can do better than that. you know. But that's just me. I don't need to know somebody who conducts himself like that, right? And she didn't really take too kindly to that. She didn't really take, you know, she didn't like that at all. I was like, bro, it's like your dude was over there like verbally and physically assaulting women at this party that we was at, and that's a dude that you want to date. That's a nigga that you want to bring around. It's like you're a weirdo for that, cause you are, you know. And it's like that to me is like, okay, that's strange, bro. I really don't see the point in you doing that. I don't see the point in you trying to see the good in people when they're showing you that they're not good. You know, that they're showing you that they're really bad choice of character. And at the end of the day, whatever happens, that's on you. Um, you don't get to cry victim when you created this, when you created the issue, you know. And like that's what it is, man. I think a lot of people, some people want to be in a relationship so badly that they'll look over all the red flags, all the all the issues, some serious shit too, and they'll sit there and make excuses for somebody. And I'm like, yo, it's like, no, you can't. You can't make excuses for that person because it is what it is. It's like, that after a while, it's like people gonna be like, every situation you in, like, that guy's the bad guy. Nah, I don't think so. You know, I don't think so. You know, and a lot of people just don't understand that. Yo, it's also your job and it's a part of you being an adult, a part of you being a grown up, is to understand when people aren't a good fit for you, whether it's family, friends, significant others, romantic interests, whatever it is, especially friends, bro. It's like I've seen people fuck up their life because of the people they associate with, you know? Or I've seen people end up going to jail over a toxic ass romantic relationship. And I'm like, bro, after a while, it's like it's not them, my boy. It's you, you know, and it's your inability to like actually sit there and get better. Because a lot of people don't want to get better, man. They just want to be like, oh yeah, woe is me, this and this and that. I'm like, nah. But that story with that former friend of mine is always, it's like a cautionary tale, because it's like, you know, that was the same person when she got divorced. She tried to play it off and say like, oh well, like she let it slip one day and she said, oh, well, I got divorced because well, like he cheated on me. I'm like, oh, okay, like that's a legitimate reason to get divorced, whatever it is. And because I remember once she said something, she's like, you know, she said that, and then she said, "Oh well, you know," and I said, "Okay, that's a legitimate reason." And she said, "Well, no, actually, she's like, I didn't get divorced because he cheated. It's like I got divorced because I wasn't happy, and then I found out during the divorce proceedings that he was cheating on me." And I'm like, wait, let me get this straight. You filed for divorce because you're not happy, and then you're not happy again because you found out that he's seeing somebody else when the person that he married and had kids with didn't want him. Like, make that make sense. And I remember, when she was telling me like, oh, like I'm a good person. Why does this keep happening to me? And I'm like ma, like and I told her point blank, and I've said this before in other podcast episodes. You're not a good person if you're constantly getting the same situation dealt to you. You know, you're not a good person if you constantly gotta tell people, "Oh, I'm a good person." No, you're not. You just think you are, and that's the difference. You can think you're a good person, but you know what proves that you're a good person? Your actions. You know how you conduct yourself, how you carry yourself, how you deal with conflict, all that shit. It's like everything that you do would tell other people that you're a good person, not what just comes out your lips. You know, because I can be like, yeah, well, I'm so and so and so and so. Right? And niggas know good and goddamn well that I'm not. You know what I mean? It's like, it's like, but to think that you're a good person to me is crazy. And to go out there and say that shit and try to play victim in a situation, that's even more crazy. It's like, who does that? Like, who sits there and says, oh, I'm such a good person. Why does this keep happening to me? Like, no, you're not. The difference is that you think you are, but you're not a good person. And that's something that I think a lot of people don't want to recognize, and they don't want to come to terms with that. They think they're a good person. They think they're this. They think that they're that. But from the outside looking in, bro, it's like, you're not. You know? And the last thing I'm going to hit on, too, is like, when people talk about their goals, overly talk about their goals, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. But you should probably stop talking about them goals and start completing some of them goals. Whether it's academics, whether it's physical fitness, whatever it is, whether it's a business, whatever it is, right? Like, keep yourself accountable. Hold yourself accountable. Like, and if you don't make it, okay, cool. Figure out why it didn't work. Because now you have an example of what didn't work. Instead of you fucking sitting and wondering, oh, we're X, Y, and Z. Like, no. It's like, take the time and actually become better. Become who you want to be. Stop talking about what you're going to do. Stop talking about everything that you want to do. And let's go put in the work. Because after a while, people are going to be like, yo, all this person does is talk. All this person does is do X, Y, and Z. All this person does is yada, 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 whoop-de-whoop. And I was like, yeah. After a while, it's like, okay, like, that's cool. And the last thing I'm going to say, I believe in helping people out. I don't believe in being a financial crutch to people. I come from a different generation. I come from a generation of parents who believed in nobody's coming to save you. You gotta work on, everything that you have, you gotta work for it. And you should always be on top of your bills, bro. If you can't afford something, save up for it. It's always like, I read somewhere, it's like, somebody said, like, oh, well, like, if I save $250 a paycheck, that's $6,000 extra a year in my savings. You do that for 10 years, you have $60K in the bank just by $250 a month. Or like, if you can afford it, $500 a paycheck, so $1,000 a month, after a year, that's 12 bands. After 5 years, that's 60. So it's like it's important that people understand that, because it's like, you have to have the wherewithal to come save yourself, And it's like, I'm not saying go out there and fucking not splurge on yourself and not buy new sneakers and not go out there chase the girls, whatever. Because that shit is fun, But at the same time, it's like, it shouldn't be an every weekend type of deal, right? So. But yeah, man, it's like, I think as 2025 wraps up, man, it's been an interesting year, bro. A lot of perspectives, a lot of life lessons, and just overall just being more present, man. But anyway, man, this is 29 minutes of your life that y'all won't get back. Hope y'all keeping the 4 P's: private, player, positive, pushing. I'll see y'all next week. See y'all in the new year. I love y'all. Y'all stay up. Happy holidays. To everybody going through something, as long as you got breath in your lungs, you can still get through it. All right, y'all. Happy Sunday. Peace.